Yo, 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 welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I am, of course, your host, the casual one, Coach Steve. Join with me, as always, Coach Ryan, our professor.
Yes, sir.
How are we doing, brother?
Doing well, man. Excited for this pod today.
This is a fun one today.
Yeah.
This is a special one.
It's a touch above, you know. It's on par, but it's a touch above, I believe.
I like that. I like that. It's always great when we have the CEO of the Coach Life Podcast Radio in the building. Coach Lloyd, how we doing, brother?
Oh, we're doing great. I'm also excited for this one. One of my
be.
favorite coaches ever that I've ever worked with.
That's saying a lot. Coach Lloyd has worked with a numerous amount of coaches.
It is hard to find solid people.
Absolutely. So one thing I will say, as Coach Ryan and Coach Lloyd have already alluded to, we have a very, very special guest on the pod today. And usually we do a coach's corner, which we kind of just drop a little bit of knowledge from any kind of a coach, mentor, so on and so forth. With this one, we have a full-on coach on.
Almost like a full office, not a corner, but an office.
Right? It's a full office. The whole thing. A native of Houston, Texas, played collegiate football at Texas State, got his graduate assistant degree at Texas State after playing.
He was a GA.
Was a GA. High school football coach. High school football coach. Stepped down to coach middle school, which again preparing them to get into high school. A guy that's way more than the X's and O's. Extremely, extremely brilliant. And some may say a slight conspiracy theorist.
Ain't no slide.
All the way in it.
All the way. We got to touch on that. We'll touch on that. But give it up, guys, for Mr. Coach Luna.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Appreciate it.
How we doing, sir?
I'm well, man. I'm blessed to be here, man. I'm grateful for this opportunity to go ahead and have conversations. You know, I've just got done reading a book that was talking about it's like the last page of the book. It was saying as men, you know, one thing that we always have to constantly do is this, you know, just constantly having conversations, those tough conversations as men. So just being able to have a conversation with individuals that, you know, I've never met you guys. I've only listened to your podcast a few times. I know Lloyd as a solid individual. Just being able to have this, I already know that it's going to be a good conversation, and, you know, iron's going to sharpen iron throughout the whole thing.
Oh, man. You hit the nail on the head, man. Hit the nail on the head. Iron sharpening iron, man. We have, I have a plethora of questions to talk to you about today. Definitely want to dive deep into your mindset on coaching. And obviously you said you listened to the pod. For those who are new to the pod, obviously we talk very, 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 very seriously about, and with a lot of passion about pouring into people and how we coach, how we manage, how we mentor people. Right. I want to take it back early into the journey of coaching and share a little bit about your background and how you got into coaching football.
So, man, to be honest, I think my passion for coaching started when it was after my sophomore season when I had torn my ACL. I was on the sideline for that whole spring ball and everything. And I was basically forced into a player coach type position because of my injury and because of how much I had a feel for the defense and things like that. I was helping groom the young linebackers that were coming in.
What level was this? I'm sorry.
This was varsity.
Varsity.
Varsity,
College, high school.
Oh, this is high school.
High school. Gotcha.
So this is just like where it kind of started. So there was a player. I don't like to name drop people, but you know, there was a player named Sean Lewis. I'll never forget him. Came in. He was supposed to be the next guy. You know how coaches are at that level at that time. They're like, "Oh, this next guy's gonna come in. He's gonna take your spot if you don't get healthy." Yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. And only at one point did I ever feel like, man, this dude might really have a point. This man really might take my spot type stuff. But throughout the whole thing, though, like even then, I had to learn about humility at a very young age to be like, you know what, nah, he's not gonna take my spot, but I'm gonna come back. But he gonna be right next to me too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of started it off. And then I still remember like our senior year, we had to do like a research project, like what do you want to do for your career? And mine was either coaching or scouting. So fast forward, I go through, I finished high school. I win the leadership award type deal. I go to college. And throughout the whole high school, like I'll tell you, my college career, I wasn't a superstar. I didn't make all the plays or anything like that. But the best thing that I always hang my hat on is my senior year. I was still on the what we call the leadership council, and I was voted on as one of the captains for the team. And that to me was huge. I'm like, because especially within the football culture, there's always that dynamic of, hey, bro, you don't even play like that. Like, what I'm gonna listen to you for? You know what I'm saying? There's always that power struggle, and for them to always revere me in that way, I was always appreciative of that. And then, shoot, as soon as I got done with my senior year in college, the 2 GA spots were filled at that time. But one of the GA spots, he had just had a baby about to happen. So I remember like it was just my defensive coordinator at the time called me in December, was like, hey, I don't know what you got planned for coming up January. I know you said you want to go ahead and coach, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, all right, come up here. I want you to come up here, just interview with Fran. And Fran said, you good? Then we good. Fast forward, Fran was like, I never, ever have hired a GA fresh out of playing because of that player dynamic, switching coach. And shoot, he took that chance on me. And from there, that was all she wrote.
That's what's up. That's what's up. It's again, I think we talked about this on the last pod, Ryan, when we said again, coaches giving other coaches opportunities, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Again, that's just how it works, right? We just talked about that in the very beginning. You dropped a whole dime on us in the beginning, Coach Luna, when you said iron sharpening iron, right?
Absolutely.
So you make the transition to college and you start playing college football. Give us a little bit about your experience in playing college football.
And to me, the biggest thing with college football, the difference from high school to college is that it's legitimately a business. And you can't see it as a player, but as a coach, you get a better understanding of it.
There you go.
And as a player, you're so fully invested with this image of me being a football player, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stay on the team, trying to do whatever, yada, 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 that you don't even realize how many hours you're putting in. Like, we were literally talking about this earlier in one of my group chats. We literally posted a little link of like how long a day was as far as like a regular practice day. 6 a.m. wake up, 10 o'clock sleep. And thousands upon thousands of kids about to go through that within the next week for a good 3-4 weeks. And it's that constant grind. Like, that's why, like, when I finally got into the coaching aspect, it wasn't that much of a huge disconnection as far as the amount of hours putting in, because as a player, we always had to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even in the off season, there was no true off season. Because even in the spring, if you don't go to your voluntary workouts during the weekends, attendance is always going to be taken. So you can't just miss because you're tired or anything like that, because that's going to bite you in the ass come spring ball. So it's just that constant grinding. It's like you're being your own entrepreneur, essentially.
Yeah. I got a quick question. Being a player transitioning into coaching, did you find yourself more empathetic towards players or more empathetic towards coaches?
Towards players.
Players.
Because I literally, and like I said, I was able to go on 2 staffs. So either way, nobody can know which staff I'm talking about here when I say these things. But I literally would be in conversation. I would literally hear conversations about how some of these kids were being talked about as far as just like, if we don't honor his commitment, then it is what it is. I really don't want this kid. Can we find a way to get him out? We got to sign a certain kid because his dad is this. Like, it was just like a lot of, like I said, the politics, you could start seeing it operated like a business. And I was more empathetic towards the players because immediately I was like, well, damn, what was y'all saying about me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
y'all not gonna say it now because I'm back here with y'all.
yeah.
Of course.
But at those times, what were y'all saying about me that y'all weren't particularly saying? Because I definitely had seen interactions sometimes when I did get on the field between head coach and DC, like, the hell's he doing out there type stuff. So I'm like, so y'all did have these conversations. The part that still kind of bothers me from all that was, even though I was like a captain my senior year, I still wasn't put on scholarship. I did all this as a walk-on.
Wow.
So that part bothered me.
Yeah.
That part
Wow.
stuck with me for a long time.
Yeah.
Luckily, my master's got paid for, but that part, like, y'all could have paid my final semester.
Absolutely.
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying?
So having the experience as in college and high school and in college and trying to understand the speed of the game and all the different politics that you have to deal with now moving into college and now coaching from high school and college, what's been the biggest philosophy or methodology that you've come up with in coaching different players?
Man, I really do believe that you have to build a genuine relationship with these kids. Like, I'm not big on the proponent of just, my name is coach, you are player, this is who I am, you listen because I say so. I'm not into that at all.
Yeah.
Because growing up, it was, we ain't know no better. You know what I'm saying? We just had a pure passion for football, and that's all we cared about. The mentality of the player has somewhat changed in the aspect of them hearing so much and seeing so much. They're a lot more sensitive. So therefore, as a coach, you got to be able to adapt. And if these kids can't trust you with anything, they're not going to do anything for you. You could try, you could go ahead and be innovative as you want to. If you cannot develop a relationship with these kids from the very beginning, they won't do anything for you.
Yeah.
Coach, what do you believe is the most crucial aspect of a player development and team success?
From a player, so you're saying, like, as an athlete, what would be the biggest thing out?
Yes, from that's the biggest aspect for player development.
Pure drive, speed, and the willingness to not accept no as an answer. Like, as far as your ambition, don't let anybody put a ceiling on it. Because if I would have let anybody put a ceiling on my potential or what they said I should have been, I would have went D2, D3, or whatever, because I would have just said I'm fine with it. Because they could have offered me this, offered me that, and I would have been fine with it. But I never let anything anybody told me I wanted to go further than. And that was something that I developed early. Like, I still remember individual coaches doing things and telling me things that made me have to go push a little bit further than I naturally would have. Because I always tell people, I think mentally we all easily put a limit on what we think we can do.
Yeah.
Because that's physically, we've always just went to that limit. Realistically, everybody can push past that limit. You just have to get it. You just have to do it one time. And then after that one, you knock down that wall.
Yeah.
And I think as coaches, that's our biggest, to me, that's the biggest thing we have to be able to do. I read that on Twitter the other day. It was like a coach said, the biggest thing a coach is to a player is to show a player that they are better than what they currently are and continue to make them mentally and physically better than they were when you first got them.
Yeah.
And when I thought about that and I read that, I was just like, yeah, because majority of the time we got into coaching because we love it. And a lot of the kids that we have coached, they were special. You know what I'm saying? They got athletic abilities that could get to a level. We're there to unlock the little bit of things that they need to get unlocked, whether it's mental strains or spiritual strains or physical strains. We're there to be the mirror for them that they can't see for themselves.
Yeah. Coach, you mentioned drive as one of your top things that you listed. Can drive be taught or instilled, or is it something that's just innate that they have to possess?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because I mean, if you were to judge me as a sixth grader, I was a little chubby little Hispanic kid who didn't want to go play football. Chubby little Hispanic kid, I didn't want nothing to do with football, didn't like it. I was just playing in the streets with my homeboys.
Right.
And then eventually, like middle school, you know, I get on a team and stuff, and then I see one of my homeboys that's still one of my great homeboys now. And you know what I'm saying? His dad was in the league. His dad is University of Miami Hall of Famer, all this other thing. He's played in the league, everything. So I see that, oh shit, I got a teammate that whose dad played in the league, and then hanging around him some more, I get around other football greats that play either college or in the pros, and I'm like, okay, so this reality isn't that far. You know what I'm saying? So and more as I got older and continued to grow, and I started seeing, oh shit, I'm not that bad in this football thing. That helped me drive. And like I said, seeing that certain people and certain lifestyles, I was like, man, it's not really a far-fetched goal to have. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though I may be small in stature at that time, you don't think about that. Because drive is the only thing you think drive is going to take you wherever you want to go. And for the most part, it can. Because if I didn't have the drive, I damn sure wouldn't have made any of the moves I was able to make.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Luna, the small dudes, you got to watch out for those guys.
Absolutely.
Tell them why, Coach Steve.
I'm just putting it out there. Okay? I just want to make sure I put that out there in the atmosphere. Okay.
He's not speaking from experience.
Exactly. Not speaking from experience, bro.
Well,
okay.
Coach Luna, he had this second thing that you mentioned, speed for sure. Well, he got it all, but he definitely
trying to juice me up a little bit.
Yeah, he can move.
I was a little fast.
You can't coach it, man. You either got it or you don't. And you can't beat it when it's coached correctly.
And you know the cool part about what you said too is I kind of want to circle back on a philosophy that you painted. You said you wanted to kind of, the goal of a coach is to get a kid to see a side of themselves that they may not see on a regular basis, right? Or they may see glimpses of, and you want to help them paint that picture in a little bit clearer for them. If you could describe your coaching style in 3 words, how would you describe it?
Honest, passionate, and that third one is it's tricky.
There's a reason why I'm asking the question, because as a coach, as coaches on here, there's always a common theme. There's always a common theme, and you said honest and passionate and
trustworthy.
And trustworthy. So the cool part, and the reason why, again, why I'm Ryan, Coach Ryan, it's like a circle. It's like a circle.
It's a circle, man.
It's a circle. It all goes back together, right? But it all goes back to, again, building a substantial relationship with that person. And it's funny because when we talk about anything that we've talked about on this pod, and like I said, anyone that's listened to this pod, everything kind of ties back into itself. And the effort and work and the dedication that you put in as a coach in the high school level, moving to college, and then having the opportunity to now coach and give and pour back into people and get them to start seeing the picture that you saw of yourself is like, again, that's, people don't understand the gravity of that until it's not there for them.
Yeah.
So you transition from high school to middle school.
Ooh. That's where I'm currently going. So I haven't got to experience it yet, but that's the route I'm going.
Yeah,
there's a huge
the other
reason
way.
behind it.
The other way.
Let's ask the question, sir. Because I'm pretty sure, I know, Coach Lloyd, you have kids. I got kids. Coach Ryan has a kid on the way.
On the way.
Big, beautiful baby boy. Coach Luna, do you have children?
No, but I do want at least one. That's all I want.
So I feel you. Because we got 2 and I cut it off. So making a transition back to now middle school, why the transition? And what do you feel like is going to be your biggest challenge in coaching and pouring into now younger minds?
I'm glad you asked. The biggest reason why I made this transition, and it's funny that I literally just had this conversation with my wife this past weekend. At the end of the day, coaching is coaching, whether you're whatever level it's going to be. So that part, I checked that box. But the thing that really made me want to go ahead and pursue this was for the past, I could say almost 8 years, I've been in this constant cycle of come July through December, I'm non-existent. 6 months out the year, I don't exist. And it got so bad to the point where family wouldn't even tell me about certain events because they already know I couldn't make it. And I'm just like, how you know? Like, just tell me and I'll see if I can make it happen. But they were already making decisions for me. So what ended up popping in my head at one point was people were starting to be comfortable with my absence. And as a family man, I never want to feel that way. And then on top of that, personally, I started losing the essence of my mental, physical, and spiritual being. And and like I said, those 6 months, you're absent. You know what I'm saying? 5, 4, 5, however long you're able to play. You're absent of those months because you're in just go mode. Go mode. And what's funny is if you ask every single coach, they always say, man, after football season, you know, man, that was a grind. That was a long ass season. Everybody says the same exact thing, but nobody ever tries to fix why. Why is it so? Why do we have to work about it? It doesn't make it not that hard. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple of the teams that I was on that when we happened to make the playoffs, we were talented more than the other teams. I mean, it is what it is. When you have a monster in the backfield or a few monsters in the backfield, they're going to do what they need to do. They're going to be able to have the success. We just can't screw it up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just this constant, like, beating your head on the wall of trying to compete to win and doing all this other stuff. And then you lose yourself in the essence. And I finally got to the point this past year when I done did 3 different high schools. I done 5 different staffs in the past, since I've been coaching since 2015. I was like, let's just be real about the situation. How much has actually changed? How much have you changed? And I looked at myself and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I've changed a lot, but I'm not changing in the direction that I want to be as far as a husband of the future, a father of the future, everything of the future. So the decision that I ended up making was me trying to be more proactive because I was blessed to at least see coaches at that level try to raise families or even start families. And I'm looking at the bags underneath their eyes, the amounts of coffee drinking, alcohol may be getting consumed at the same time. And I'm just like, I don't think I want to try to start this process doing that. So it was more of me trying to be proactive on top of seeing everything that I've seen to be like, if I want to start this, I want to start it the right way. And I want to be a part I want to be a part of it instead of being the person that comes home, sees my daughter or son every 1 hour for the day for 5 months. Nah, I don't think that's fair to the family. I don't think that's fair to the wife. I don't think that's fair to the kid.
Yeah, that's a very good perspective that I think a lot of coaches that claim success and want success, they feel like you have to make those sacrifices and they're non-negotiable.
And that's, to me, I say this a lot. That is the most toxic thing that's in the culture. And I told my wife, I don't know when or how it may change, but I do kind of feel like the younger generation of coaches, these coaches that are late 20s to mid 30s, they're starting to have these conversations like we're having now. And, it's starting to, get a whirlwind, and people are starting to hear it themselves. And they sit back and they start thinking, you know what, this is low key a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't require 80-hour work week. You know what I'm saying? I did the math, 80 hours. It's that hard. And we're not getting paid extra. We're not getting paid extra.
That stipend is that stipend.
It is what it is.
Whether it's 1 hour a week or 80 hours a week, that stipend ain't never gonna change.
You know it. Well, again, Coach Luna, you hit on something that, again, like you talking about the schedule, the grind that's required. And Coach Ryan alluded to this. Like, I don't think a lot of players really understand the grind of coaches. Like, yes, you got to play in the game. Yeah, you got to come to practice, but you don't know what we're doing outside of practice, outside of a game. That's, again, coaches are putting in hours of time and for film to prepare, to make sure that we're putting our team, our players, if you're the head coach, your position coach is in the best position to win the game. So you already hit on this, and kind of mixing the personal life, like how much of a drain it takes off of you, which, by the way, sir, congratulations on celebrating your 1 year anniversary with the wife. Congratulations, sir.
Congrats.
Many more.
Absolutely.
How do you balance coaching and your personal life to make sure that you're able to pour back into the people that you love and yourself at the same time?
Well, like I said, I think I'll even be better coming up this year now that my weekends are free. But throughout, like, this past year, what I started doing with my wife is that we would go on dates in the middle of the week. You know what I'm saying? Just middle of the week dates, just because, Thursday we got JV games. Friday or Saturday we got varsity games. Saturday we got to come up there, start breaking down film. Sunday we got to come down there and we got to finalize game plan. Sunday is NFL Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, right. Got to sacrifice a little bit. That's part of my happiness right there.
There you go. There you go.
But, just little things like that. And then, that's something that I want to say kind of started happening, like, more towards track season. Like, that's, like I say, when I started getting more healthy, more comfortable with the idea of taking this to the middle school level, I also got more comfortable with the idea of realizing that there is sometimes throughout the weeks that I can go ahead and do something, and we can go do something. And then with just family, it's just that constant line of communication, because to be honest, half of them don't even know that I'm probably going to go to middle school this year. But I'm going to tell them, hey, anything going on during the weekend, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about, uncle's in football season. No. Just call me. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm more of the person that I'll take it more personal that you didn't invite me, rather than you thinking that I was doing something. No. Reach out to me, because I'm going to do my best to make it, because you reaching out to me tells me a lot more about how much you wanted me there.
Yeah.
Than opposed to the other direction.
Yeah. Is there any, I know you probably will experience this if it is, but what's the parental influence on a coach or the games or the players? What is that like?
You're talking about from, like, my parents?
No, from the players' parents.
To me, it depends on what school you at.
Okay.
Because I'm in Cyprus, and anybody that's been in Cyprus, there's two different Cypruses. You have that part of Cyprus that they get everything last, and then you got the other part of Cyprus that get everything first.
Yeah.
I'll just put it like that. Coach Watts knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Man,
understood.
I understood it best as a head track coach. I'm like,
so there's that dynamic. At times you'll get the parental involvement, at the schools that get things later. You'll get your involvement every year now and then with parent that feels like their son needs to be played a little bit more, or this and that. Then on the other side, you just got to deal with a whole lot of same type of politics, but a lot more entitlement, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that it's the same, almost same type of dynamic, but just two different types of demographics and two different types of parents and how they approach you.
Yeah.
I kind of want to circle back for a second.
I'm good with that.
I kind of want to circle back because I want to talk a little bit more, and I want to get your thoughts on how you pour into individuals. How do you pour into your team, your players? How do you go about getting into the mindset and breaking things down for a difficult player?
Well, I got this from my defensive coordinator when I was playing in college. He did this thing called the magic tape. And the magic tape, he would always find those little nuggets, whether it was like running back's depth or offensive line split or offensive hand in the ground, like things like that. And he would take screenshots of it, and and he would just go ahead, and then we would break down stuff to every way you could break it down. We're talking about formation codes, whether it's 3x1, 2x2, back to the field, back away, back in the dot, quarterback in the center, like you name it. So naturally, when I seen that, when I got into high school, I started doing the same thing as far as being able to break little stuff down to see, all right, well, when that running back is to the left and they line up in trips, it's going to be 100% pass. All right. So then put that right next to the film. And what naturally happens as a player is you see it. So as soon as you go into the game, boom, I know what's coming. Back to the trips. Here comes sprint out. Boom. So the kids are now they're playing faster. And they rep it at practice. And you make them have to repeat, what's coming? What's coming? And boom, you can hear it. You can hear it. And the more and more they see it, and the more and more they rep it, the more and more they get to believe, all right, coach know what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Coach really putting in time on his film. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I remember playing an opponent. Well, we won the district championship when I was at my last school. And they always put that, they had a tight end that would always lead you to the ball. No matter where he is. If he's in the game and he's lined up in between that guard and that tackle, he is going to lead you to the ball. So we had a freak of nature that could play anywhere, anytime in the country. Like I said, I don't want to name drop. But I literally told him, he's going to lead you to the ball. So leading up to the week, we just watching the game. Boom. Here they go. They finna run this. They finna run that. And it's just, now you see it. I'm not just full of crap. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally looking at this. I'm writing down statistics, whether there's two receivers to that side, one receiver. I'm looking at boundary field, everything, hash marks to see, all right, now I know what this OC like. And the more and more them kids can see that, and you can break it down to a level of, I know exactly what's about to come before it can happen, the game slows down and it becomes so much easier.
Getting them to almost just react as opposed to thinking, right? You're taking all the thinking out of the game for them. So the only thing they need to do is just go.
100%. As a coach, to me, that's part of our responsibility. Like I said, you maximize your potential. I'm going to make your job easy.
Yeah.
Trust.
That trust is huge.
Full circle. What did you just say on the last episode, Steve? You just got done talking about this, putting people where?
In positions to win.
There you go.
Yeah. And as long as you can build a relationship with them, as long as you can identify those keys that they have to make them successful, you can put them in positions to win every single time.
Every time, man. Every time.
If they're willing, right? If they're willing.
Yeah.
That drive.
Yeah.
Gotta have a drive.
Keep circling back. Keep circling back, man.
Like a circle. Look at that.
Hey, I know every player has their coach that they feel like, man, I run through a brick wall for him. he imparted so much into me. Our relationship was top tier. Well, who was that coach for you, and what did they put in you?
I actually have a couple because they both impacted me at different phases in my life.
Yeah.
High school, I would say Coach Gene Johnson for sure. He was also the coach that hired me as soon as I got done being a GA. He was also the first coach that hired me.
Nice.
Gene was let anybody else tell you, they're gonna say he's a hard ass, this, and that. Man, Gene was the perfect coach for what we had going on. He was the perfect coach. He expected the maximum out of all of us. More than the maximum we thought we had, anything. Like it was just, we needed that type of discipline, and we needed to see that with the quote unquote passion we had for football. He made us push a little bit more further and made us have to become men in the essence. I'll never forget the punishments that man had us do. I'll never forget. Just because it was all about accountability. It didn't matter if it was I did it, didn't matter if the other linebacker did it, didn't matter. It happened. We're all responsible for all of our actions.
Yeah.
And seeing that, and then being able to work for him, you know what I'm saying? He toned down just a little bit because he had a daughter, but he was still Coach Johnson at the end of the day. I still remember he ripped my ass one time as a coach, and I was just like,
whoa.
Bro, I literally feel like I'm a sophomore again. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man at this moment. Like, God dang, he still got that type of like stare you in your eyes and your soul, like, yeah. And then in college, Coach John Thompson, for sure. He's now I wouldn't say he's retired. As soon as he got done being a DC, he became a head coach at a private school out in Alpharetta, Georgia. And he's been a head coach there for like past few years. But that was the first college coach that actually like was curious about my personal life. Never like I have plenty of coaches I have hella respect for as coaches.
Yeah.
He's the first one that literally had a personal conversation with me, literally asked me about my parents. My parents were in Mexico this whole time. I'm worried shit because they're working out there. They've witnessed murders, all types of shit out there because they opening this brand new company out there. They're in Mexico, Monterey. They got co-workers that got robbed. I'm worried the hell all the time about my parents. He finally asked that question. I'm like, man, I almost broke into tears because he asked. I'm like, I appreciate you finally asking. I appreciate any of y'all finally asking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
then
I will never forget this conversation. I asked him, I said, Coach, you know, what do I got to do to, you know what I'm saying, take the starting job? I've done everything y'all asked. I don't miss nothing. Work my ass off. Shit, you just had an honest conversation with me. We stayed on the field talking about 2.5 hours. Just real man-to-man conversation. And I think that was the day where he probably, in his head, was like, when this kid's done, I want him to be a GA if he wants to coach.
Yeah. Wow.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Again, we talked about this in the last pod. We talked about, you know, coaching coaches and giving opportunities to other coaches. And I mean, that's again just a great story to hear. Another good coach that saw potential and was able to paint the picture a little bit clearer for you on what direction you needed to go into so that you can continue to pour into other people.
Yeah.
So I have one for you. All of us being coaches, being mentors, you've obviously had the opportunity to coach individuals, and I'm glad that it's almost like you've brought the story perfectly, set me up for this. But we have the opportunity as coaches to affect people outside of the sport, you know, or outside of the field or outside of the office or whatever the case may be. We have that opportunity to do that. How important is it for you to have those opportunities, those moments to pour into people outside of, you know, your normal day to day?
It's extremely important. I mean, I sometimes have to kind of watch myself because then sometimes I feel like I'm coaching my friends. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I literally just had this conversation this past Sunday with one of my homeboys because I didn't get on them, but I kind of did get on them a few days, like a few weeks back, and I was just telling them, I literally was telling them, I was like, bro, don't let our high school careers be our peak of success or none of that. Like that's done. That's water under the bridge. I said, what I just want to do is make sure every single one of us are doing something to climb. I told them straight up, I said, you either inspired or you need to be re-inspired. It's one of the two. As a man, there is no in the middle. There is no, I'm not sure, because that means you need to get re-inspired.
Right.
There is no other way. You're either currently inspired or you need to be re-inspired. And if you can't figure out which way that you are, then that means you need to be re-inspired. A man with no direction and no vision, what are we here for?
It's a lost soul.
You're a lost soul.
Coach Luna dropping dimes on us right now. You better close that coin purse up, man. You're gonna lose all your change.
Man, I would say this. I wanted to kind of add to that. I think as men, people in general, we need to always be coaching. If we're in that position, we have the mental capacity, we have the experience, we're a little bit more balanced or in a better place in our lives. We need to do that with each other. We don't need to be doing it for a job. But I actually love when my homies lay into me. Like Steve, probably one of my go-tos where like, man, you tripping. just straight talk. Like I hate fluff. Me personally, I want the constructive criticism. And sometimes I already know myself, but I don't mind having that double down. Like I need that. That's some reassurance. That's some confirmation. Like we need to do, even if the person isn't like me and is not receptive to it, completely opposite. Like I'm not your homie. I'm not doing you any good if I don't coach you when I had the opportunity to do so. Like I see you going left. I'm trying to steer you right. I love you. And I want to see you do good. Yeah. So, you telling that story, like, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do all the time. All the time. Like I'm the random call, check in. We do it with each other. Like it could be a month in between time, but yo, where you at? How you feeling? Where your mental? Like even my blood brother, y'all know B will send me a text. Where your mental at? Where you at?
Make sure you're good.
Just in every way possible. Like I even had another homie was like, he felt like I should be further with certain things I'm working on right now. And he was like, "Do you know who you are?" Wow. Straight up, he was like, "Do you know who you are?" Like cursed me out to the point where he was frustrated. Like, "Do you know who you are?" Yeah. Like, what the f you doing? That's what he hit me with. He's like, "Yo, pick it up." Right. On me. Like we have to be that. Yeah. So what we say, coaching coaches, iron sharpen iron, like whatever the case may be, however you want to say it. But
absolutely,
I love it.
So Coach Luna, in those moments where you need to be re-inspired, what gets you going, or who do you look to, or what do those moments look like for you?
Ooh, what a nice fire.
It's ongoing. It's ongoing with me, man. Like I always find, like recently, I haven't even read the book, but I'll be seeing his videos.
Oh my God.
I am reading that right now, bro. I'm in the middle of that book, right? That's crazy.
For
his
those
videos,
for those who have again, we're
audio.
It's all audio. So what tell the Coach Life podcast radio fans out there what book you're reading right now, Coach Luna?
Bro. I'm not reading it yet. The book I'm reading right now is a book by Dick Gregory. This is the next one I'm about to read. It's Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Hey, I'm gonna speak to it right now because I'm literally in the middle of that book. I don't always broadcast my reading. Like Coach Luna, I know you got your one a month right now going.
One a month. So, I'm done with 6 already.
I'm just lining them up. Hey. I really ain't keeping track, but like I'm I just dove into that book. I will say this. This would probably be, for me personally, one of the most inspiring books I've read. Just based on my personal journey and how much he definitely had a much harder life than me, but a lot of things I was able to relate to, and I'm just like, dang, like, hey, check it out. That's all I can say. Like, yo,
coming another full circle thing, he talks a lot about what Luna was talking about earlier, just how you have to push yourself beyond your capabilities of what you think you're capable of.
A lot of that, man. And y'all already know the part that connected with me most as far as like pushing beyond your limits. Me personally, if you know about my accident and everything I went through to even be able to walk again and keep my leg, like when he started talking about pushing beyond limits, all of that talk, it hit home. I know everything you're talking about, like somebody telling you like this as far as you can go is more mental than anything.
Yes.
The mind speaks to the body, but man, great read. I'm sorry, I started going off. I got me fired up.
That's great, man.
Because what just hit me in the head was just like every man that reached some type of level of success had some type of inspiration. And a lot of the times what happens is we get caught into the monotony of just working, home, and we forget the essence of us being men. And it's that drive. The drive is what made us find our wives. The drive is what made us get our jobs. The drive is what got us to where we're currently at as a state of whether it's comfort or sufficient, whatever the word you want to call it.
Yeah.
The drive helped us get here, but this ain't the end goal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the drive never stopped. And the more the books that I've been reading, the more I've been exercising again, it's like that old itch coming back. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember the grind. I remember it. Like that old little, that old little trigger that you just feel like, all right, yeah, let's go get it. And now that I've been constantly working out daily. Like back in January, I was 207. Told my wife I stepped on that scale. I said, "Who the hell is this?" I said, legit. I said, "Who in the hell is this?" 207. I never weighed more than over 202 in my life. And I was like, nah, this ain't me. This is a testament of comfort. Right? Comfort ain't where I'm trying to be. I'm not trying to. That ain't the time for that yet.
Man. It's almost like we planned it. It's almost like we planned it. You make the comment on not being comfortable and pushing through limits, right? And we talk about that all the time. How important is it for you to get your players, anyone in general, how important is it for you to help push people through those limits?
Man, to me, it's one of the most important things you could do for a kid, especially at those ages, because they're maturely, they can't understand that they are stronger or faster or more capable than what they really are. They only limit themselves into the capacity of what they have done, and that's the only world that they live in. You know, so as coaches, we have to put them in those positions to make them lift that weight, make them go ahead and cut down that split, make them go ahead, jump further, make them go make that open field tackle that they haven't made before. You have to continuously put them in those situations. And when they fail, you don't beat them down. You coach it. You coach it, because if the fact that you believe that that person can do it, that means that now it's our responsibility to fine tune the little things that need to get fixed so that they can go ahead and do it. Because then after that, now we go to the next one. It's the same thing we're talking about with the stair step.
Confidence.
Same thing in the concept of how you coach your kids.
Man, it's almost like I wrote it.
Building that confidence.
Absolutely. Building on success.
Yeah.
Building on success. Again, those small wins that again may not mean much because I was able to lift this weight. Coach Luna pushed me to lift this weight today. I'm not going to be able to do that much tomorrow, right? Or I'm not going to be able to run that extra lap, or I'm not going to be able to catch this pass or to make this open field tackle. I'm not going to be able to make it to work, right? Like little stuff like that. We always make it. We always look at the barrier and where what the line is, right? And it's super important to make sure that we pour into people to look past that point. And I really, really, really appreciate, and I know you will, the moment you start doing this, because I had the opportunity to coach some middle schoolers myself, and one of the best experiences I've probably ever had, man. By far, I can tell you, being able to pour into somebody that young, that is, it's already impressionable because they know you played college football, you play high school football, you play college football, like you played at the next level. So like you already have some quote unquote legitimacy because you've already done something that they want to do. So making that transition, you'll be able to pour into them and give them something that they probably won't even realize until they get much older, until maybe they become a coach, right? Maybe until they start pouring into other people. Like how important it was to have a coach like Coach Luna to pour into them at an early age.
Yeah.
So one other thing that, I'm not going to let you go off of this pod.
I'm good, man.
I'm not going to let you go right now, partly because we still got to talk about this conspiracy theorist situation right now. Because again, I think it's pretty intriguing myself. Again, we talked to you. We going over. What are we, about 45 minutes almost, about an hour almost, and having this conversation with you, which has been amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You can tell automatically where your passion is, your drive, and that you're a brilliant coach because you got to figure it out. You understand that the relationships that are being built are the keys to the success that you're having right now. Like you're building these relationships, you're able to see the things that need to be done to move people to the next level. So being labeled a quote unquote conspiracy theorist, how do you think your intellectual curiosity has helped you with coaching methods and strategies?
Go back to that word we just talked about, living in the world of uncomfortableness, having the conversations and having the opinions that everybody does not want to have, even though it may seem more logical than the BS we want to believe in.
There you go.
I like to think from a rational perspective on a lot of things, and I like to do my research. Anything that I choose not to believe in or believe in, I tend to go ahead and say, if I have a public stance about something, I've done enough research about it, in my opinion, to feel like, all right, this way is the way that we should be thinking or believing, and vice versa.
Give us one of your theories that you leaned into.
COVID vaccine, number one.
You gonna get us canceled, bro. Stop it.
COVID vaccine was number one. Like,
no, we're gonna Dave Chappelle this. Keep talking, Coach.
There you go.
Coach Wise will tell you, I was big. I told everybody we were about to lock down before the lockdown happened. I said, man, China does not shut down their economy. That's not what they do. Have you ever seen? When you ever seen a Chinese restaurant close? Not to be racist, SoundCloud. But I'm just saying, they grind. That's what they do. That's how they. That's their identity. So for them to just say, all right, complete halt, it was like, hold on. Then I started looking at, Coach Wise will tell you, I started looking at the stock market. The day, what was it? The day after Rudy Gobert had that, whatchamacallit? And he said he can't play because he has COVID. And they cut down the game. I said, oh yeah, we finna go into lockdown. Sure enough.
He called it, yeah.
From that Monday text message.
Man, I remember like yesterday.
I was like, bam. And then fast forward. 8 months later, now they got a vaccine. 7 months later, really, it was like
Very quick.
Quick.
And then it was a whole different type of vaccine. Every other vaccine before this one was based off of, you have this disease, you develop the antibodies, we take the antibodies out, boom, there's a vaccine. This one was what they called mRNA vaccines. Never had been done before in humanity. It's always been practiced, but never been passed ethically. They said, nah, we're going to green light it, we're going to say it's good. And now you see constant little articles about this and that. I'm not saying it's what's at fault, but I call a spade when I see one.
Yeah, it sounds pretty legit.
Hey, Coach will be on it, man. We be in office. I'm here to say he ain't telling no lies. He's ahead of the game.
Moon landing, all that, man. I ain't.
Yeah. Oh man.
What's the landline on the moon, bro? They had a landline on the moon and a straight video, still video on the moon. All right, bro.
Hey man, that's how we used to get through these 80-hour weeks in between time. In the meantime,
you ain't never lied, bro. Absolutely. We gotta talk about something, bro, besides another X and O.
Another X and O that we're overthinking. That we should have went with the first one in the first place. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry, Steve. I still want to touch on this because I think it kind of play into like who Coach Luna is as a coach and as a person as well. But I did want to ask, we kind of touched on this as far as humility. You know, we talk about building up confidence in players, and I guess I want to get to the vulnerability that plays into coaching. As a coach yourself, and then that of your players, and trying to help them get comfortable with it. Is there such thing as being too humble? And why or why not?
I don't think there's such thing too humble, but I do think there is something that's too arrogant.
Okay.
I'll say as far as polar opposites, I say one actually truly exists, because in the essence of being humble is, I think that with being humble, that means you're also grateful. You know what I'm saying? And there's no such thing as being too grateful. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're humble, you're confident in your abilities. You don't have to speak much. I thought about this earlier when I was walking. I was like, well, when you think about it, humility as a man, as the older you get, I guess you could say the less confidence you get, because you're not out there seeking for attention as much. So other people speaking for you as far as your level of, your capacity as a coach, or your capacity as a husband, or capacity as a man in general, other people's perspective about you should build the confidence within yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be the component that you go ahead and identify as, but people see you moving, people see you working. I know how much work I'm putting in. You know what I'm saying? So just to hear that, it's just like, okay, yeah, all right, bet. Good. I'm heading in the right direction. But like you said, sometimes you want that partner to say, hey, bro, you need to push the pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
I appreciate that too. So, like I said, you can always be too arrogant. Antonio Brown, example number one. Too arrogant.
Great example.
Way too.
It's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate.
It's obnoxious, bro. Like, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
And when you do those things, brother, whoever you believe in, you're not gonna get blessed on the backside, bro. Now you look at his career since that happened, since the whole incident when he took his jersey off, but he can't keep a gig. He dropped a hit single, boom, that's gone. Picked by what was it, AFL team, an Arena Football League team, went 1 year, gone.
Yeah.
Everything that he's touching is now falling away. What is that? House of Cards. Everything that he's doing right now is a house of cards, because there's no true foundation. There's no true value in what he's doing. There's no humility in it. You know what I'm saying? Everything is, I may be, so it's going to work.
Right.
That's not how things work. That's not how things work. I would always want the kid who was a lot more quiet and more reserved. And hey, man, you are really talented. You are very good.
We can work on that. Yeah.
You can work on that, because eventually, if you continue to have this success, people are going to put a microphone in your face, and they're going to want to ask questions about you.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Last thing you want to do is be up there and get frozen and don't know what to say, and then start sounding like you're uneducated and you don't have any confidence. You need to have some type of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always stay within yourself. You don't have, the whole world doesn't have to know how confident you are.
That's true.
You know, Coach Luna, I kind of relate this back to, and I'm glad that you said this, and you gave a very good example of this being either too arrogant or too humble, right? And I always look at this as, and I had this conversation with a coworker of mine. They were talking about how I was carrying myself in a meeting. I was talking about, like, you know, you made a lot of changes, and you know you should boast about it a little bit more. And I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. You know, I'm not going to boast and brag about, you know, what I've done, so on and so forth. But I always relate it back to like a sword, right? That arrogance is, you know, the handle, and that humbleness is the actual blade itself, right? Mm-hmm. And you can have all the arrogance in the world, right? Like I can do it all. The handle is massive, but that blade is like this big, right? It's 1 inch big. You ain't cutting nothing, bro. You ain't doing nothing. But the more humble you are, the more you're a sharpened tool, the more damage you can actually do because you're humble. And I think, again, if we get people to start changing their mindsets a little bit more, and again, not saying to not be confident or not be able to say every once in a while that, you know, I did that, right? Not taking that away from anybody, but just know where that level needs to be.
Mm-hmm. I really do believe in gratitude. I really do. Like, there's another book called Messages in Water. Highly recommend for anybody. And in the book, long story short, this man, and I don't know where it was, some Asian country, I'm not sure which one. But what he did is that he put water from underneath a microscope, and with each drop of water, he spoke certain words from different languages, put certain pictures next to the words, and the waters formed water crystals. So what it ended up showing was that water had some type of consciousness and some type of understanding. There's a universal language. It didn't matter whether it was in Spanish, whether it was in German, whether it was in French. The two words where the water crystals came out perfectly symmetrical were love and gratitude. So in his conclusion, he said that those two things are universal languages, period. Throughout all cultures, throughout anywhere. You can see love and you can see gratitude. You can feel love, you can feel gratitude. And when I feel like you have those two things in essence, humble is a byproduct. Being humble is a byproduct. Arrogance can't exist where gratitude and love are at its purest. You know what I'm saying? Like, could you imagine one of the you know what I'm saying? Like one of the apostles or anybody, a pastor that's just beyond arrogant? Who's going to really believe in this man? Where is arrogance in the preaching? Like, where is arrogance in any of these believers that you're talking about? Whether it's Buddhist, whether it's Judaism, whether it's Muslim, Islam, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Arrogance does not exist in a place where love and gratitude flourishes.
Could not agree more.
Love it. No, that's definitely gems for sure. My primary reason for asking that is because you know, I've actually heard both sides. You know, I've heard that humility can hinder you to a certain extent. So that's why I was just curious. And then how do you think that may affect you? But you already kind of answered this question. Like, you can always build on humility, right? Somebody could be too humble to the point where maybe that we're not seeing their full potential. You know, we talk about those kids as coaches, we see more than what they're putting out. They don't know what they are yet. So that's kind of where that came from. But
I think where it can become a problem is when it becomes complacency.
Comfortable.
Yeah. You're comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of lose that touch of that, what we were talking about earlier with the drive and the passion and all that other things. Humility can sometimes get lost in that current. Mm-hmm. And if you're humble to the point where it's like, you whatever happens, yeah, that's where I think it can go too far.
Coach Luna. Again, I'm full. My cup is runneth over right now with inspiration right now. Really, really happy to have this conversation with you, sir. And again, I really appreciate the time that you spent with us today to just talk about, again, one of our greatest pastimes, just, again, growing people, pouring into people, sharpening iron. So I definitely appreciate it. You are always a welcome guest back on the Coach Life Podcast Radio, sir. So at any point in time you want to come and drop some more knowledge on us, please do so, sir. The door is always open. Again, for those out there, like and subscribe. Let's get those likes up. Let's get some of them subscriptions up. Hit that bell too, just so you know when we drop another episode. Definitely go check out that merch. Go check out that merch. I'm pretty sure we have a polo available on there. I'm hoping we have a polo available on there, because then I'll put my foot in my mouth. So I will tell you this. If someone who's listening out there, the sound of my voice right now, can give me one of your greatest coaches, whether it be a coach, a mentor, whomever, who's inspired you to help someone else or to help other people, put that in the comments. I'm going to choose one of those particular comments and we're going to give you 10% off in the store. Look at that. Look how great of a guy I am. Look at that. Right? So again, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Until the next one, guys, stay positive, my friends. Damn, and jeans fit me.